In this episode, we are going to create a new layout page in our app and add a page to it. In the Site Manager panel, make sure the Pages tab is open. Click the Layouts folder. Then click the plus icon. In the pop-up, type the name you would like to give to this layout. The layout page opens in the terminal. In the layout page, you will notice a set of notifications briefly showing on the page. These are notifications about the frameworks that are being added to the page. These are the frameworks we selected when we were setting up our project. Refer to episode 2 of this series to learn more. Now we will create the navigation menu for this page. The navigation menu has 3 tabs. In the layout, above the View Content Add section. In the section Add a container. The container has many types, but in this episode, we will use Fluid Type Container. The Fluid Type Container takes the full available space of its parent element. Add a row in the container. Scroll to the row layout properties and select 3 equal columns. In the first column, add a row with 2 columns. In the 2 columns first column, add another row with 2 columns. In the 2 columns first column, add a select element. In the second column, add a bootstrap plus icon. We need to make the plus icon bigger. To do this, we will create our own CSS class for it. Name the class big-icon. Icons are treated as text. So in order to make the icon bigger, we will set the icon text size to 24 pixels. We need to set the size of the icons column to auto, so it adjusts its width to the size of the icon. In the second column of the first of the 3 main columns, add a menu icon. To make the icon bigger, use the same CSS class as the plus icon. Write it in the icon properties or search for it in the design panel. Set the menu icon column to auto. In the second main column, add a row with 2 columns. In the first column, add another row with 2 columns. In the first column of the 2 columns, add an image. In the second column, add a paragraph. Set the image height and width, and choose the app logo as its source. Change the paragraph text to new. In the second column of the main row of the second main column, add a paragraph and an envelope icon. Use the plus icon CSS class for the icon. Set the column of the logo image and its paragraph to auto. Set the column of the envelope icon to flex container. Align its items to center, and justify its content to end. Give the paragraph a right margin. You can either set the row of the logo image and its text column to align vertical center, or put them in single column and make the column a flex container and align its items to center. You will still achieve same result. Make the logo image text bold and make the envelope icon text small and bold. To work on the third main column, it's straightforward. Try to create it or follow along. Align the items of the main row to vertical center. Give top and bottom padding to the 3 main columns. Now that we are done with the navigation menu, it's time to add a page to the app template layout. Add a page in the Site Manager. Name it Dashboard. Make sure you select the app template layout as the layout and click Save. Our dashboard page opens. Open it in the browser to make sure it's using the app template layout. You should see the navigation bar we just created. Before we go, delete the drop-down Select Default Data. We will be populating it later. In order to bring our page to life, we need to divide it into 3 parts, each part serving its own purpose. Add our regular page structure. Add 3 columns in the row. We need to make each column scroll individually while height of the page is fixed. You will understand what I mean soon. We are doing this because we know the quantity of items in each column will not be equal. Create a CSS class for the row. Call it App Page. Set it minimum height to 100% viewport height. Set it maximum viewport height to 100% viewport height. If the content overflows, hide the overflowing content. Set the background color of the second column to primary, and the background color of the third column to white. Add placeholder paragraphs to the 3 columns, so that we can see if our design is applied. Looks like our row CSS properties didn't apply. Let's check what went wrong. Now the row issue is fixed. Our navigation is pushing down the page. We want it to be on top of each page, so it shares our column colors. Open the app template layout. Create a CSS class for the fluid container. Call it navigation bar. Set the position property to fixed. Type 0 pixel in the top position. Type 2 in the Z index. A negative Z index will make it go under our page. Awesome. However, the contents of the 3 columns are now behind the navigation bar. Let's try to add top padding to each column. Add a CSS class to the first column. Call it page-col. Set it inner top padding. That looks okay. Add the CSS class of the first column to the remaining two columns. Add some dummy content to the middle column. Duplicate the content until you can no longer see it. You won't be able to scroll the page to see the rest of the dummy content. Because we set the main row maximum height to 100% viewport height. And we set it overflow to hidden. If it content goes above 100% viewport height, it will be cut off. Adjust the middle column CSS property to match that of the row but set it overflow to scroll or auto. This will apply to the rest of the columns, because they share the same CSS class. Now we can scroll the column independently without scrolling the whole page when its content is longer than the page. Same thing applies to the other columns. Try it. We need to change the scroll bar style. It's wider and it does not match our page colors. Search for how to customize scroll bar on the internet. Copy the CSS properties of the one you prefer. Open the Site Manager panel. Open the CSS folder in the public folder. Click the style.css file and paste the CSS properties you copied there. The scroll bar CSS properties I used applies to all scroll bars in the app. You can customize yours for individual columns or rows. Awesome. When we scroll our page, we can see it scrolling through the back of our navigation bar. We need to set the background of the first, second and last column of the navigation bar to match the background color of the first, second and last column of the page. That looks good. Before we go, set the drop-down select column size to auto, so it only expands when the drop-down select has content. Try to add some random value to the drop-down select to see it expand. This is the end of this episode. In the next episode, we will work on our forms and add validations to them. We will also create our first database and add users to it. Subscribe to this channel. Use the comment to ask questions, turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next video. Watch full playlist if you are joining us for the first time. Happy building!